lot of stuff about that, so I'll be one of the ones to come out and, actually make content about it. Not saying it's not out there, but it was hard for me to, as far as like breakups and like dealing with co-parenting, I didn't really see too much about that. But our situation was like, it was like an 8-year on and off deal, and we really were just kind of prolonging it. And there was periods where we were together and then we weren't, but then it would be like we would still be like messing with each other, like I'd still come over sometimes, we'd have sex, or like we would cuddle, or it wasn't until it was finally like a breaking point where it was like no contact, and then that's when it really like hits you, right? Because sometimes you'll have periods where there'll be a week where we just don't talk at all, but then we'd always reconnect. And so that first time where it was like we went a month, then we went 2 months, and it took me, I'm not embarrassed, but it took me like 3 months to, like, after no contact, to really grieve and accept. It's an up and down thing. It's an up and down thing for sure. But really just let it break me down, because I think what happens in long-term relationships, it gets harder and harder to not put your happiness into that person. And you know better. You know that you're not supposed to put your happiness into somebody else, right? Your enjoyment, your fulfillment, and that's an external thing, right? And the thing with people switch every day, and that. Once you become attached, there really is no going back. That is there. That attachment is there. You sleep with this person, you have sex with this person, you shower with this person, you go on dates with this person, you go on vacations with this person. This is the person you text before work, you text during and after work. This is who you communicate with. You do all these things together, and that becomes your life. That becomes a daily thing that you indulge in. But here's the thing. Breakups don't usually just happen out of nowhere, right? You can generally sense it coming, but it's a game changer once you have a kid with somebody. And the hardest thing for me was just, I always wanted to be the family unit, I never wanted to do step parents. I never wanted to be, a baby dad and just have a baby mom. I don't really subscribe to that culture. I'm a tight-knit, loyal, family-orientated kind of guy. At least that's what I wanted. And so to give up on that was extremely difficult. It wasn't necessarily about her. Of course, I love her mom. But I've never felt like I can't find another woman as far as to do things with, and you know what I mean? It wasn't even that. At first, of course you miss that, because, what's so hard about breakups, in the begining, all you can think about is, damn, they're going to be doing everything that we used to do with another person. You know what I mean? That's literally all you can think about in the beginning. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that attachment, it's that attachment that really, that you're missing after a breakup. It's you're left with just your thoughts, man. And so it was a lot of alone time. It was a lot of loneliness, and you got to be careful with your thoughts, right? Because your thoughts become what you think. What you think becomes who you are, and then you portray that into the world, right? Your thoughts are so crucial and important, right? And it's crazy because when you really want something to work, you will overlook things. You will not love yourself. And this is a key point here about loving yourself. When you love yourself, you won't have to find that and chase that anywhere else, right? And what happens in long-term relationships, from what I can see, is that people lose their identities. People lose the love that they have for themselves, and they put it into that person, right? You start putting up with things that you normally wouldn't. You sacrifice things that you typically wouldn't. You're not hanging out with your friends as much. You're not doing the hobbies that you once were doing. Time that was put into maybe your business or family is now put into the relationship. And I can be very candid and very real about my situation, because I have nothing to lie about. Between me and the mother of my child, I mean, our relationship really consisted of a lot of lies, a lot of insecurities, and again, it was more so about our child and not necessarily about us. I mean, there was a lot of infidelity between the both of us, and when you take emotions and your feelings out of the situation and you're clear-headed, you can really assess what was what. And at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, we both were kind of on some bullshit. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter who did what more and did the what, this, that, and listen, it wasn't right from the jump. And you got to understand that. And that's what I'm saying, when you're in a long-term relationship, at least for me, like, I just overlooked a lot of things, man. You overlook things. You're willing to put up with certain things because you think that you want something. You think that this is as good as it's going to get. Your identity becomes who this person is, right? Every time I come around, oh, where's Nydia? Oh, how's Nitty? You know what I mean? It's not even Jason no more. It's, oh, Jason and Nitty. You know what I mean? What are you guys doing? Hey, you guys want to come hang out? You know what I mean? And then, I learned a lot of things about myself too. Like, I should have never been going through her phone. Should have never been looking at her socials. And, you're going to see things that you don't want to see. And the thing is, like I said, we were on and off. And that's a real red flag, because when you play that on and off game, you're always going to have that excuse of, well, we weren't official, or we aren't together. I'm a firm believer that what somebody does when they're mad, when their emotions are high, what they say and what they do, that is how they have always felt. And you have to allow people to do what it is they want to do. You cannot dictate or change how somebody feels about you. You do not get to dictate how long somebody is going to stay with you. You cannot beg people. And there's this quote that says something like, two people can look at the same picture and see two different things. And so when I hear that, it just helps me to remember that people only see things from their perspective. People only view life through their lenses and their experiences and their upbringing and their beliefs. And so you can't take things personal, even if the person is trying to be hurtful, even if you feel like, they know better or whatever. You can't take it personally. And it's easier said than done, obviously. It is easier said than done. And so once I just kind of got to a point where I was able to just see people for who they are and not take it personal, not have emotions invested. It all comes from your mind, right? When you are constantly thinking about something and you can't get it out of your head, that's where the depression and the anxiety and the suffering and the insecurities and all of that comes from your mind, right? And you give value to the things that you can't stop thinking about, right? And so I just think that I'm not saying you shouldn't feel things, right? I had to feel what I was feeling, and you're gonna go through it enough times. Like, there was so many days, like, I was just going through the motions. I was an autopilot. Like, go to work, I would come home, and literally I would stay downstairs in my room and not even do shit, bro. Literally just let my thoughts consume me. And that's important too, because you have to feel what you're feeling, right? Because you want to use this as motivation. You want to use it as fuel. You want to remember this, right? But then you can go too far sometimes. You can go too far, and you know, it's a dangerous game. Your mind is a dangerous thing sometimes when you let it be. When you go too far into the just letting your life go by, and man, you'll be surprised at how long it'll take some people to get out of it. I'm not judging anybody either. I mean, like, it took me like 3 months, honestly, to grieve, and then it comes to the acceptance. If you find ways to just not be connected to your thoughts, you're not gonna be depressed, right? And it's easier said than done, and that's why I said I'm not sure what my opinion on depression is. Is it? I don't want to call people who are depressed weak. I'm not saying that at all. But I was in a very weak state of mind. And you have to give yourself a fighting chance, right? And here's the thing. There's always going to be something that'll make you remember a memory. It could just be random, man. Like a song will come on the radio, or you're at work and you hear somebody singing a song that make you think of them, or you know, you could be watching Netflix and this movie reminds you of them. Like, you don't really get to pick when a memory or a thought is going to come into your head. But you do get to decide if you are going to dwell on that thought and let it consume you. Right? And that's the point that I had gotten to, where it was like, okay, what are you doing? It is okay to still love that person. It is okay to still miss that person. But you have to have self-respect and dignity for yourself. You know, why are you still hung on somebody who has made it abundantly clear that they do not want to be with you? And even if it ended, you know, positively and good, if the situation isn't healthy for you, why do you want to continuously be in that situation? And the best thing to do is get it out of your head that you guys are going to be together. You have to accept that you're not going to be with this person. Listen, when somebody doesn't want to be with you anymore, you know, they're basically saying that they can do better than you. And that's not always the case, right? There could be a situation where they might not even do better than you, but it just wasn't healthy. But by and large, you know, why would you want to be with somebody who has given up on the situation, who has made you feel the way that you're feeling? It's just not healthy, right? And you'd be doing yourself a disservice by continuously trying to be with somebody who has made it abundantly clear that they do not want to be with you. It's really staying out of your head, because that's where it all stems from. And it's inevitable. When you go through a breakup, you're gonna feel things. You're gonna feel it right away. I mean, it's gonna hurt. Man, listen, you can't go from having this person who is a constant in your life, and then when it all just stops, you're gonna feel that. Like, you're gonna feel it. And you know, you can't be searching their social medias. You can't be looking at their pictures. You really have to try to block it out. And like I said, I had gone through her messages, and so I knew a lot of things. And you know, it was you feel not valuable. You feel worthless almost. It's weird, right? Because it's like, you know that I know what I bring to the table, and I know who I am, right? But then you just lose your identity somehow. I don't even know how I let it happen. You know, and it's a learning experience. It's a learning experience.